This next episode features Dan Stott. Dan is the CEO and co-founder of Fortis. Fortis is an all-in-one, game-changing health and fitness platform with a distinct vision to evolve and change the personal training industry. Me and Dan sat down and spoke about his tenure at Just Eat, and reasons why he decided to get into the personal training industry itself, why he moved to Bali and chose to run his business remotely, and what the misconceptions about the personal training industry are. Dan gave me the inside scoop, and it was a pleasure to speak to someone so invested in their health and health of others. I hope you enjoy, and please subscribe. Dan, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much. I'm really well, thanks. Thanks for having me.
No, it's a long way from, I was going to say, were you from Bondi then, but it's not, it's Bali.
Bali, yeah.
Jeez, how long's that flight?
22 hours it was. We came back from my brother got married in Greece.
Oh, nice. I saw on your Instagram. Yeah.
Which was super cool. So we flew back to the UK, then flew to Rhodes.
Nice.
Back in the UK, seeing a bit of family for this week, and then back to Bali on Saturday.
Nice. Jeez, that's a long way to go for a way.
It's a lot of. I know, and I did the same thing for his stag do.
Really?
He went to the lovely location of Benidorm, and so I came all the way back to go to Benidorm. I came back from Bali to go to Benidorm.
Really? That's so funny though. But no, I'm glad you're here. Obviously, Manchester. It's it's up north, and that's originally where you're from.
Top north.
It's up north. Yeah. Sorry, I mean, I'm from Huddersfield. I know. Obviously, we were speaking before. Have a lot of mutual friends at the same place, but. I guess for those who don't know you, maybe just a little introduction to who you are, what you've done in the past and what you do now, and then maybe hopes for the future, like brief, and then we can go into some individual questions.
Sure, no worries. So I guess where it all started, top north. I'm from the lovely town of Bolton.
Nice.
And all I ever wanted to do all the way through school was play football, much to my teacher's dismay all the way through. I was super fortunate that I was like naturally bright, so didn't have to do as much studying during school, which kind of allowed me to go and play football. I signed with Manchester City at 10.
Jeez.
It was like super early. And then I did a stint at United. Which was pretty cool. Manchester United for anyone who's a Newcastle fan. Yeah. And then I ended up at Bolton, which is my boyhood town, from 11 or 11 and a half. And then I stayed there until I was 19. So I actually signed pro there and did what was the old like YT scholarship program.
Yeah.
So I did that, and all I ever wanted to do was play football. So that's all I did. Became a professional football player, not being paid very much, may I add, at 16. £90 a week I was being paid.
Yeah, you're not the first. I've heard some of this before. Someone said they were getting paid like professional. Obviously, it changes when you get to a certain 17, 18. Obviously, you go into the Premier League and stuff, or League One's Championship. But they don't. Yeah, it's crazy how the level changes from literally £90 a week to I don't know what people are on these days.
It was ridiculous. Like £90 at 16, then it was £100 at 17, then it jumps to like £2,000 a week. At 19, and you're just like, how does my lifestyle change to sort of like?
That's kind of ridiculous, isn't it?
So I did that. I was super lucky to have like technically been a professional football player. I say technically because I never actually played a first team game for Bolton. I never made it onto the Premier League pitch.
No.
My manager back then was Sam Allardyce, who became famous for the wrong things when he was England manager.
Oh, really?
Not that long after.
I don't know anything about that. I don't follow football that much, to be honest.
And so I did that, and then kind of like when I knew my career wasn't going anywhere, I used that to go to America. Did a scholarship at university. Did the whole American Pie type college scenario,
Nice.
which I loved. Went to uni in New York for a year.
I saw that. Yeah, that's cool.
which was great. And then I went to San Diego and to California, and then came out into my working career. Worked at a company that was like a subsidiary of Haribo. So I was selling vegan, vegetarian, kosher, and halal gummy bears.
Okay, kind of like Candy Kittens style.
It was the strangest company because there was two founders who were a Jewish couple selling into the Muslim, like that was the market because it was halal sweets.
Yeah, of course, yeah, gelatine.
So you got like a Jewish couple And then me, who's got no background in anything, like, and they brought me in to sort of sell to like wholesalers and cash and carries. And I loved it. And I learned like how to barter. I learned how to sort of get deals over the line, work like signing up like Tesco and Asda at a young age. So I did that for a year and a half. And then I got my lucky break, really. I'd love to say it was intentional, but it wasn't. When I, 2010, stumbled across a tiny little company that nobody had heard of called Just Eat. Which at the time,
never heard of them.
I know.
Never heard of them.
It's crazy to think now where they got to. But I was, my friends and family laughed at me. They just sort of said, "You've got like takeaway pizza and kebab boxes down the side of your car. Like, what is this?" And I started there as a salesperson, door knocking. And then as the company grew, I was super lucky, and I moved into management, then into like more senior management, and then as Just Eat expanded all around the world, I got super lucky to be part of the team that went and established Just Eat in different markets. So I got to spend time in Canada and Brazil and Australia. And I did that for 6 years, and can't believe how far the company grew in that time. And I got a ton of experience, learned so much about culture, about sales processes, building teams, fast growth, hyper growth, funding. It was a wild journey. After that, I went to a health tech startup in London in 2016. 2 founders and 1 ops person, and I was the first senior hire. And there was like no revenue, no customers, and a big idea and a little bit of funding. And we took that from like 3 of us to just over 100. We went through funding rounds up to Series B. It was that was a crazy journey as well. Really exciting, but
London as well, fast pace.
Exactly, yeah. It was crazy. So I did that for 5 years, and then it was like, I've had this experience with these other companies, with Just Eat and with Elder, and now I've sort of been around entrepreneurs. I've seen other people do it. I've been part of that journey. I want to do this on my own now. And when lockdown all the craziness with lockdowns happened, I spotted an opportunity in the fitness industry. I'm a huge fitness enthusiast.
I was going to say, you do a lot of you went to America. Did you play sports when you were in America?
Soccer,
football,
soccer.
Yeah, and obviously did football for 7 years professionally, essentially.
And in 2016, when I was like at the end of my time at Just Eat, I was living in Australia. I was flying all around Australia. I was like living in airports. And I got really unhealthy. I actually put a lot of weight on. It was really unhealthy. And then I got my online coach, who was based in Manchester, personal trainer called Mark Ross, legend. And over a year, he just completely changed my life. And I went from being like overweight and pretty unhappy and very, very grumpy about it to being like ripped and like men's health cover. And that like renewed my passion for the industry. And I also like the interest and the excitement around like a personal trainer and what they do as a job. So when I got the opportunity to sort of start a business in the fitness industry, helping personal trainers, I was like, yeah, I'm all in on this. It combines every single passion that I have. And we've been doing that for 3 years. It's been a crazy journey. And yeah, we are where we are today.
Fortis,
so hopefully that was as brief.
No. That was perfect. I think you summed it up really well. And I think the fact that, I guess, because some people are like, why has he got into the fitness industry? It's like, well, because he likes going to the gym. A lot of people think that now, like, oh, he's starting a PT. He went to the gym for a few years, now he's a PT, and now everyone's a PT. It's like, no, literally, you've been doing it since you were 10. Yeah. And it's almost been building up since before you even knew that what it was you were going to do. And then now you literally running a business which is solely, about fitness and PTs and, how people can run a business essentially. Because I guess Fortis, so I guess, again, for like me as well, but what actually is what's the brand? What does it do? What's like USP, I guess, for it?
So we help personal trainers build stronger businesses. So this was what I learned when I spent time with personal trainers and sort of listened to their world. Quickly realized that they're all self-employed, which means they're technically business owners. And yet they come into this world like they're born, but when they qualify, they learn how the body works, they learn how to squat, they learn about recovery, they learn how to treat their clients. But what they don't learn, what they're not taught, is how do I run a business?
Yeah.
And then they all of a sudden, they move out into the big bad world. They go and get a job at Pure Gym or Virgin or wherever it is. And all of a sudden, they have to go from, training clients to figuring out, how do I market? How do I use social media? What is email marketing? How do I sell? How much do I charge?
Yeah.
How do I deliver my service? How do I get referrals? What should my retention be? And how do I understand how to run a business? And what we do is we help them with all those things through mentorship, through technology. Trainer comes to us. We want them to focus on just doing a good job with their clients, and we'll help them with how do they find more clients? How do they market their services? How do they, understand their niche? How do they communicate to their audience? And then a big one, and I've done 2 workshops today with 50 personal trainers on how to sell, because that's one thing that they really don't like doing.
Yeah, I guess it's hard, isn't it? Because I think with personal training as well. I mean, I actually got a personal trainer last July, after a breakup. Best decision I ever made.
Usually there's always a moment.
There's always a moment, and that's when I realised I wanted to do this more seriously. It was a weird time, but he's great. I mean, he's my nutritionist, my PT. He's called Christian. He's actually coming on the podcast at the end of the year.
Nice.
We're going to do it in the gym. Actually, going to turn the lights off, and it's going to be very, very intimate. But he's great, and he's honestly one of the best PTs around. But it's not because he's good at what he knows stuff. It's not like he went and did a sports science degree. My older brother did one as well. He got his PT course, did a PT degree or level 1, level 2, and he was a qualified PT. But he's like, I don't get that, because anyone could do that almost. And he's like, obviously, people go to personal trainers if they know they're going to get a full, well-rounded experience where, about nutrition, about like weightlifting, a bit of CrossFit, when to rest, which again, it's something I don't know how to do. And I get injured very often. But he's great because he knows how to relate to you as well. And it's not like he's trying to sell somebody. He's not trying to be, some personal trainers can be quite mean. And I know especially as people who maybe don't like going to the gym because they feel uncomfortable. I'm sure you've known about that a lot. Like people like,
gym intimidation.
Yeah, exactly. And people I don't want to be embarrassed. People are going to laugh at me because, maybe I'm overweight and I don't want to show up to the gym and do weights. And it's like, he makes it so, I think especially for me as well, he makes it so easy. It's like, just go for 5 walks a week for 20 minutes. Do that for a month. Then we'll come back, and it's like little things like that. And then you look back, and I look back at some of my check-in pictures, and I'm like, geez, I think I lost 15 kilograms in 4 months. I was like, my girlfriend she calls me slim, not sin. She's like, and when we were going for a walk and the wind's blowing, she holds on to me. She's like, you're going to blow away. And I'm like, you trying to say I'm skinny? I thought I had a bit of muscle on me, but I think it does go to show, and that's why he's good at what he does. And he's a prime example of someone who knows how to sell, knows how to market himself.
Yeah.
But personal branding as well, which again is a new hot topic at the moment on LinkedIn, personal branding. I actually spoke to a personal branding person last week on the pod, Izzy, and she was just telling me all these insights about how people think they have a personal brand, and then she looks at the LinkedIn and she's like, you don't. She's like, just posting once a week's not really gonna do anything. You have to be immersed in it. You have to love what you do. You have to post regularly. You have to actually care about the people who comment, listen to you, whatever it is. But I think that's really what you said about, selling, because I looked at your LinkedIn thing, and it's it's sales, Brazil, Australia, and it's the sheet is so long. So I'm not surprised people come to you for advice around it. But I guess, is there any misconceptions around personal training, do you think? Is there anything that people... I don't know, because I feel like people either think they're there to help or just to make money. And I think some people may be going for the wrong reasons, where you see people do a year course and then they're charging £50 an hour to stand there on the phone and tell you what to do. And I've seen that sometimes in gyms, and I feel bad for the person paying all that money, because they come in, I've seen them every week for a year and they've not made any progress. They're doing the same stuff. And I'm like, what's going wrong there? I don't know. You got
I think within the fitness industry, because it's quite hard actually, and to be fair, it's not that different than business. So if you're not very good at sales and marketing, and it can be quite hard to grow a really big business. What you can grow is a very nice organic business. So if you deliver a great service, you'll get word of mouth and you'll get referrals. But what you're not going to get is loads and loads and loads of new customers lining up. And in the fitness industry is no different. So with personal trainers, the amount of times I've met people who just really, really care. They care about their clients so much, but they're terrified of getting in front of a camera to do like a face to camera or anything like that.
Yeah,
They
check-ins
don't,
and stuff.
Yeah.
I hate those, by the way.
check-ins are, yeah.
Every Sunday.
But they sort of like have this, sales and marketing is like scary. And that's just the reality. And then some people, sales and marketing comes really easily and they actually don't care as much about their clients. And it makes me feel bad when I see sort of like, quite often influencers, they might give bad advice. They might have a funnel which is automated where you just get like a non-specific PDF type scenario and you're doing it because you're attracted to that person, because you follow them, you like their content, you think they're great, they look fantastic. And what they're doing is they're making lots of money. And, that's the part of the fitness industry it's why we got into business, because if we can help, let's say it's Gary. Gary works at Pure Gym in Leeds. He really cares about his clients. Why should Gary, just because he's not as savvy and smart and an influencer, why should Gary like not be able to build a great business? And why should, someone else who's got massive following on Instagram have it so easy for clients? So we want to level the playing field and help people who love and really like working with their clients. If we can make sales and marketing easier for them and give them the confidence to get in front of camera and help them, wouldn't it be better if we had loads? And we don't work with trainers who don't like their clients or don't. Or
Yeah, that's good to know.
Because they're hard to work with. Like they're really hard to work with because everything we do stems from you build a company or you build a brand around caring for your clients, and if they don't, we're stuck. Then we're like, well, we don't think that we can help you.
Yeah, I guess if the interests are more, and from like a conversation, right, after 10 minutes, if everything they're talking about is money orientated, KPIs, budget, and then they're not talking about how many clients, what about their nutrition, like actually more personal things. It's more about just the bottom line. Yeah. And I think good PTs are ones where they don't mention, money's not mentioned. It's like you pay a fee and they're not like chasing you for money. It's not about, obviously they need to be paid, but it's not about like you do a PT and then after like 5 minutes later, like you don't send me the 50 quid. Like what you do. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes I forget to send I have a weightlifting coach. I forget to send him money. Sorry, Bailey, by the way. I forget to send him it's like 20 quid, but for like 2 weeks and he never chases me for it because he knows, I'm dedicated to what I'm doing and he knows I'm going to show up next week. And if I don't pay him, I'll pay him next week or whatever it is.
There's so many good people in the industry. There's so many. There's so many. And they're the kind of people who we love working with.
Yeah. No, that's cool. That's really interesting because, like you said, you're really into sport. I saw you did a bit of CrossFit.
Love CrossFit.
Yeah. I saw you were lifting some heavy weights and you lifted.
I like CrossFit I went through, when I did my body transformation and I did a year, it was like sets and reps, like, relatively straightforward stuff. And then I discovered CrossFit and I just, there's two things about CrossFit that I love. One is community. And whenever we work with a trainer or a coach, we want to help them like cultivate a great community because community is where the future's at, I believe. And CrossFit has this unbelievable community. And the other thing is, it's the progression. If you're trying to, let's say you want to get like ripped and you want to have like a 6-pack and that's what you want. When you get there and then it's maintenance. With CrossFit, there's no end. You can literally keep going and going and going and going and getting better and better and better and better, lifting heavier, getting more flexible, getting more mobility. And I love an endless process. The idea of like achieving and then, like that it's fine, but I love the fact that CrossFit just keeps going and going and going.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the community aspect's amazing. Like when I went to Australia last year, I remember reaching out to some gyms in like Bondi Beach. So like, come down, don't worry about money, come down, train, like come do an open gym, come to a class. I go to a few at the moment, and I did like the Open this year. I don't know if did you do it as well, CrossFit Open?
No, I did. I was like injured at the time. I was gutted. I really wanted to like.
Honestly, you're glad you missed it. I came off the rig first workout. I got it on camera as well. I set my phone up, so I did a turn toaster bar, and literally I let my grip went as I was midair. fell back into the wall,
Oh, no.
cracked a rib, bruised, had a concussion. I was on the floor like,
Did you finish the WOD?
No, they were like, and it was 8 minutes after the row as well, and I was like, I had to go back 3 days later and complete it. But the whole gym was rammed full of people, and everyone just stopped and like saw me like a sack of shit just hit the floor. I'll show you the video after. It's hilarious. I put it on Instagram. I think it was my most liked video actually. But yeah,
People love failures.
I was in pain for like 3 weeks. But yeah, I still completed the workout. I went back for the next one, but it was funny. But again, that just goes back to maybe trying to run before you can walk. You know, in a competition as well, it's like adrenaline. You're not even thinking about anything else, and it's just like almost focused vision. But it is one of the best. Yeah, I found it when I was probably just got out of uni.
Yeah,
probably had like a load of weight to lose. Definitely good for your mental health as well. And yeah, like you said, the community aspects sick. And like my gymnastics is like it's taking me like ages just to do like certain things, and weightlifting, getting snatches up. Like you see like the best in the world, like the Matt Frasers and stuff. They're like in the 30s. It's very rare now. I mean, obviously it changed a bit now, the CrossFit, where you see a lot more like 16, 17-year-olds like winning the Open and all this stuff. But yeah, a lot of people in their like 40s and they're still hitting PBs. And
it's such a, I find it humbling, you know, like I love being bad at stuff. You know, like the older I get, the more I appreciate being rubbish, you know, and with like trying to do a double under and like whipping myself in the face, or, you know, trying to, I can lift fairly heavy-ish on certain things, but if you put me in an overhead squat position with my arms in the air, because my mobility is so bad, I can only lift the bar. So I go from like squatting, 130 kilos to then not being able to lift more than 20 on the, because
crazy.
My mobility is just so bad, and I can only just hold the bar. So, and I really like that about it. It's humbling when you go and you do that. But the community rally around you, and it's I'm huge advocate of CrossFit.
Do you get a lot of it where you are in Bali?
Oh, Bali's big. There's
surfing as well, obviously.
I did do. I know that you surf. I saw. It's surfing. One of the things for me is like there's only so many things that I can hold in my head at any given time. And my girlfriend and I, we went and did a couple of surfing lessons. And then I had surfing lessons. I was doing CrossFit. I'm running Fortis. I'm trying to be a good partner. And at the same time, I was taking guitar lessons. And I was I said to her, I'm going to have to drop one of these. And surfing's going to be the one. You
dropped surfing? I'd have dropped guitar. That's fair. Each to their own.
Yeah, but I've got like weddings that I need to like play at, you know. I'm only kidding. I'm not. That's what everyone keeps saying. They're like, we've got some weddings next year and we don't really want to pay for a DJ. Can you just bring your guitar? I'm like, I've done one lesson.
Solo on stage.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? That'd be very funny. Yeah, surfing is good. It's interesting because when Smithy, our friend, introduced us, he said you're in Bali, and I was like, why Bali? Why? Because I guess this comes around to the whole COVID remote working. Because you said before we had a call, your team's all remote, right? You've got people in. Do you have people in Australia? Did you say
New Zealand?
New Zealand, obviously Bali, UK.
Yeah, UK? All over the UK.
Yeah. Why specifically Bali? Besides the fact that it's gorgeous weather and like the beach is amazing and stuff, but
so if I look at Bali in isolation, and the thing that's the hardest thing about Bali is when you work in UK hours, and it's like 7 hours ahead now. I think it's 8 hours ahead over winter. So the time zone is tough because you're starting work at 2-3 p.m. and finishing at 3-4 o'clock in the morning, which for your body it does take its toll. But if you take that away, and it's like, it's Paradise Island. So I love London. London's my favorite city on earth. And the reason I love London so much is you can walk and sort of, you could walk and have so many amazing, you could have a really great haircut. You could find a dentist, a doctor's, a cafe, a restaurant, you name it. You could walk to like really good everything in central London. And there's so many things going on. And usually when you go to like a Paradise Island, typically, if you go to Thailand or somewhere like that, you're going to get all of the gorgeous scenery. You're going to get the beaches. You're going to get everything. But you're going to sacrifice on all of those like those nice little amenities that you just get so used to in cities, where it's like, you know, you can walk to 3 coffee shops that do oat milk lattes with a spruce of X, Y, and Z, right? Or like an avocado, like smashed avocado and toast and poached eggs, which you take for granted when you live in a city. And then you get to Koh Samui and it's like, you got rice for breakfast and that's your option, or some gruel, or maybe one cafe on the island has got like, you know, that. Whereas Bali just seems to have like a massive abundance of high quality stuff that you would typically find in a city, but with all of the paradise things around it. And I find the people who go to Bali have a mindset of, they seem to be a bit more free and spiritual and positive.
Free spirited,
And the locals there, wow, the Balinese people are just, they smile, they welcome you. I go to the coffee shop I go to 2 coffee shops, and they don't complain when I go to either one. And I walk down and I high five everyone on the way in. Like, what country do you go to?
Main character vibes, that.
And it makes you feel like that, you know?
Show,
yeah, when they do it to other people, I'm like, hang on a minute, this is my time. Yeah. But I love Bali. We built the company remote because we did it in lockdown. There's a lot of positives to that, but it's also incredibly difficult. At the same time, as it is working in an office, there's a lot of pros and a lot of cons.
Yeah, Bali. It's on my list. I think I said it's next year. I think the plan is to go for like just 10 days, 2 weeks. Just get like a Airbnb on the beach, just surf,
and it's
sunbathe, just
it's
detox.
So affordable. It's so affordable.
Yeah, I've looked. I mean, the flights are expensive and stuff, but you look at the actual places, what you can get for your money. It's, if you went like compare that to, I don't know, Australia, Bondi Beach, flipping out.
Oh, you got no chance.
It'd be like triple. And it'd be somewhere probably not as nice either. And probably about, 10 minutes to the beach. It's actually a 10-minute train and a 10-minute bus. I mean, a 10-minute, you know what I mean? So I think, it's on my list of places to go. Apparently the surfing's amazing.
It's incredible there.
That's a tough place to learn.
They've got like, I mean, we go to the beginners bit where they have like super advanced bits and there's like, I'd highly recommend that. You know, we're only staying places for a month or 2 months, and you know, anywhere in Europe. If you want to Airbnb in Grimsby, or you drag and drop anywhere in the UK where you think, oh, surely there's a cheap. It's so expensive, and then places like Bali, Cape Town. We did time in Cape Town. We actually acquired a company down there earlier this year, and that came a lot. It was an acqui-hire, so it was the company plus 3 engineers, and they're all in Cape Town. So we went down for the acquisition earlier in the year. Really loved it, and we're going to go back there in December for like 2 or 3 months.
Lots of traveling then.
Yeah, lots of traveling. People, it sounds glamorous, and there's a lot of glamour to it, but it's as well, it's like tiring.
It is. It's not for everyone. I think you have to be very much happy just to be up and go sometimes, because I think some people do like one long haul trip a year, and it's like, that's it. Like 30 hours on a plane to like Australia is not fun, let's be honest. Unless you're in first class or business, but
that is true. We used to do that with Just Eat. That was nice.
Oh really?
That was nice.
That's good. Yeah. That's a good perk. That's crazy. Yeah, Just Eat. Because obviously I worked with a company years ago, and Just Eat was one of their clients. It was probably back in 2018, 2019. So I don't know if you were still working at the time.
No, I left in 2016.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, and obviously then the business started in lockdown. Yeah. I guess for those who are maybe wanting to start their own business, getting into entrepreneurship, because I know a lot of people want to be like entrepreneur. Be like, what do you want to be an entrepreneur of? Like, I don't know, I just want to be an entrepreneur. I'm like, well, you don't want to be an entrepreneur. Like, it's not awful. It's 90% of it's actually really stressful, and and you're actually broke till like you're 30. Yep. So it's not for everyone. But is there any like one piece of advice you'd give to someone, say, leaving university and they want to start like a business with a friend? Is there anything they should be doing like off the bat, like basics or anything? Depends.
I mean, there's a long list of things. I'd say I'd say 2 things. Firstly is, you know, solving a problem you're passionate about is a lot easier than solving a problem you're not passionate about. So it's when you really enjoy the problem, and it doesn't mean that you have to do it in an industry that you're super passionate about, but if the problem you're solving is something that you're passionate about, it makes working 14 hours a day like, okay. Whereas if you're working on a problem that you're not that interested in, 14 hours is a long time. It's like a really long time.
Yeah.
So that I'd say that, and then the other thing as well, and building your network, and I can't stress how important this is. I'm in my mid-30s, and we launched Fortis, and up to now we've raised £1.3 million in funding. Jeez. And the vast majority of that has come from mine or one of my co-founders' personal network that we've developed. So it's all angel investors, no VCs, and that's come through doing the as best a job as we could in the careers that we had, but networking and meeting people and having like great people around you and building a network. As you want to launch a venture or launch a business, one thing that you'll want to have around you is people telling you or advising you or helping you or supporting you, whether it's through funding or knowledge or advice, or you're questioning what you do. So having a really strong network of people who can provide that type of support, they're the two things that I would say.
I think that's really good. Especially the first one, because I feel like, I hate saying this, I say it all the time. It's like, pick a job you love and you have to work, and it's completely true. And the second point, obviously, network. I mean, most of my jobs, pretty much everyone I get on the pod, anyone I speak to, all come from like either LinkedIn or say like Smithy introduced me to you, and I only met Smithy because I knew his brother who worked at White. Do you know what I mean? It's these little things, but you look back and it's like, oh, it's because maybe I was nice to this person and maybe I was friendly with this person. Then down the line they remembered it, and being like nice in first impressions make such a big impact.
Do you know, honestly, like that is a really good. Genuinely such an important thing for anybody. Those impressions make a huge difference. So as a story, we've just hired a guy called Piers. He's a great guy. He worked at Just Eat. He and I actually met and crossed paths, but very, very short. I think we met for like 5 minutes on his first day, as I was not long before I left. And when he came to work at Fortis, he reached out to a couple of people who I'd managed in the past, and he took a big pay cut and a gamble and a risk to come and work with me because the feedback he got from the people who I managed 10 years ago was so strong and was good and was positive. So, those interactions and the people who you work with and you deal with, and like not burning bridges and always trying to be the best you can be with everybody, not knowing who's going to open a door for you in the future. No,
100% agree. I think it's definitely something I'll like every time someone's like, where did you get this from? How did you speak to them? How did they introduce you to them? It's like, mate, just message people. Just be like, be friendly. If you can't get them LinkedIn, speak to the PA, find out who the PA is, drop them a message, or just make up a meeting and say you had a meeting with them, and realistically they'll probably put you through to them anyway. But it's like little things like that, and I think network's a massive one. Speaking of LinkedIn, is there anything, I call them LinkedIn icks, but is there anything you despise on LinkedIn, like something that really pisses you off? Like, I don't know. I mean, everyone's got one or two things, but
I think fakeness. So like, the thing for me is I like things that are genuine and authentic. So I like people that are honest. And I feel like we've sort of created a world where so if someone's selling something, there's like a perception now where they have to sort of pretend that they are a certain way in order for them to be able to sell what it is that they do. And LinkedIn's a place where there's, I want to hear about people's pain point. I want to know how hard it is. If you look at any of the posts that I do, it's like, here's a bunch of problems that we've got. Like, these are challenges, because I want to be real, and I appreciate it so much when I see realness and rawness and people saying, hey, look, we made a ton of mistakes here, or this is something that happened, and I value that. What I don't value is sort of either like virtue signaling or people like saying or pretending that they're 10 times better or things are going way better than they are. That's the bit that it's not helpful for other entrepreneurs and for other people who are trying to get on with their careers, because it gives a false sense of like, most people are winging it. This is a fact.
Yeah.
Why are we not saying most
Yeah.
people are winging it? It's like, there's so many people be like, I've built this 8-figure business by being disciplined and doing this and doing that. And it's like, well, you're probably winging it for a good chunk of that. Like,
yeah, it's because I suppose it doesn't sell, does it? It's not sexy. And again, I feel like I agree with you as well. Transparency is so much more attractive. And like having, like you said, if someone's more like, oh yeah, I messed up today, we lost this much money, we lost this client. I actually saw a post from a friend, Nick, yesterday on LinkedIn. It was like a massive post about success. And he's like, it's not the Rolex watch, it's not the Lamborghini, it's not the first class flights and the pictures you take of it. He's like, if you were wearing a Casio, he's like, if you were wearing like a little, if you were wearing like I don't know what they think, like a Fire Nemo, like little watch, Mickey Mouse watch, you're not gonna put that on your thing. But as soon as a Rolex signs on it, you're like, I'm gonna flex this on my first class flight next to my bottle of Bollinger. And I see that a lot from people I know. And to be honest, like, I get it. Like, if you've worked hard and you've earned money and you enjoy, those are the things you enjoy, like people who love cars. I used to look at people who have a red Ferrari. I'm like, what a waste of money, you just do it to flex. I'm like, well, maybe he's wanted a red Ferrari since he was 10 years old and he's worked 40 years. Kids have gone off to college and he's like, you know what, I'm going to get that red Ferrari. And it's like, fair enough. And if that's their passion, it's like, I really love cars, but I'm also like a bit worried that in the future, I'll preach about not having fancy cars. I'm about to afford like I don't know.
In your garage.
McLaren Senna. I'm there like, oh, it's like a 1.2 mil. I'm like, I'm never going to spend 1 million on a car. But like having like that, do you know what I mean? It's almost like, but I love cars and I know I can tell you everything about the inside and the engine, how it works. And it's not because I want to put it on my Instagram. It's because I want to drive it on a track really fast. Because that's, for me, that's what it is. And I think success is different for everyone. To be honest, on this pod, we ask, what is your definition of success, I guess, if you have one, or do you know what yours is?
That's it's like an ever-moving goal, isn't it? I mean, if anyone, my partner says it, she'll say things like, really nice. She'll be like, I'm really proud of like how you've handled, like how you've done this and my instant response is, I haven't done anything yet. My immediate response is, I haven't done anything yet. And it's not because I'm self-deprecating or that I'm wanting her to be like, no, go on, tell me again. Like, it isn't any of those. It's the fact that like I genuinely, for me, I don't know what success looks like, and it will continually change for me. And I know, it's like being happy and being fulfilled and all of those things. But I actually there's a weird thing around like when you go through a really difficult situation and then you get through it. There's a great feeling in that. So like waking up and being like happy every day, that's like being retired and going playing golf. And it's like, is that happiness, or is happiness constantly having little battles and overcoming them and figuring it out as you go, and then the definition of success just takes shape over time. And it's a really hard one to sort of like answer with, and I don't have like a monetary value to it or a goal to it. It's like I think it's like an ever moving time. And for me, a big part of it is impact. How many people can you impact in a positive way? And the further you go in your career and what you do, every person that you meet and every person that you interact with, if you can have an impact and a wider impact on people, then that would be a good barometer of success.
Yeah, I think that's a really good answer. I think, to be honest, what you're doing now is in terms of like running a business, living in a really nice place, that for me is like success. It's like having freedom, not being bound by 25-day holidays, HR, asking permission. Like that is not, I'm really hoping my boss doesn't listen to this because I still work full time. But like that's for me, it's like control. I think having the freedom, not having, like you said, a boss, having HR, being able to work from a boat or I say yacht, like, you know what I mean, and going wherever you want, and like having a business, having that, I guess that freedom, but also the financial freedom, because I know it's not about, monetary value. I know people say money's not important. Let's be honest, it is. Obviously you're probably not in the same thing because obviously you don't live in the UK, but you know what happens here with like interest rates going up and affordability and how people are struggling. So I don't like when people say, oh, you don't need to worry about the money. I'm like, no, money's important, but having too much of it can be a problem, because then
People say that when they've got a lot of it.
Exactly, yeah. People like, you don't need that Lamborghini, says the guy who just sold his Lamborghini.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's kind of stuff. It's like, let me see what it feels like first. And if it's not for me, then it's not for me. And for me, I think having that financial freedom is success, because that enables me to then sponsor my friend's business. If you need some money, invest in my friend's charity, buy a new roof for mum's house. Like, those are the things. That's where my mind goes when I think about money. It's not like, all right, what about those upgraded seats in the new Tesla? Do you know what I mean? Those little things. But I know a lot of people's minds will go there. And I think that's when people are chasing like a certain job or career for the wrong reasons. And it comes back to, like you said about personal training. Yeah. It comes back to, are you in it for the right reasons? Are you in it to make people's lives better and have, feel better about themselves and be happier? Or is it just to make $250 a month on a nutrition plan that you just automate for 30 clients, which I'm sure you've seen people do, automate this, real out. Yeah.
Do you know that it's interesting? I did a personal development course. When I was working in my last company, I was very well paid. I was living in a beautiful penthouse apartment in London that overlooked the city. It was, and I did this personal development course, and I took a lot. It was amazing, and I took a lot away from it. But the one thing I realized was I was chasing. And I would wake up in the morning and I'd be like, I'd look across the street and there'd be a slightly higher penthouse on the other side of the road. And I'd be like, and my immediate thing would be like, I can't wait until I get there.
Yeah.
I can't wait until I get this promotion. I can't wait until I've got X, Y, and Z. And it was this realization, and I went through it, and I did the phase. The only thing of value I have left now, because I put everything into my business, is the watch on my wrist. But I was buying designer stuff and all the wrong, and like you said, it's like, do it for the right reasons. If you're going to buy something, like, do it because you love the craftsmanship or the quality or whatever it is. And it's like, when you're buying it because you want to show it off to somebody else and you want to please other people, and it's not people say this and it sounds a bit virtue signally, but it is real. If you're doing things to please other people, whether it's buying things, whether it's getting this job, whatever it is, then it's gonna be hard to be happy. It's gonna be really hard to be happy. Whereas if you're doing it because you really want to do it and it makes you happy, or that it does change things quite a lot.
No, I definitely agree. I mean, this is not me slaying people who have, want to buy cars and stuff. I think do whatever you want. I think, like you said then about, in London, designer clothes, I think it almost comes with the environment. If you're put in a place where you expect it to look a certain way, dress a certain way, live in a certain place.
Yeah.
I guess, you have to almost play that part in a way. And I think, but it's the difference is you actually you knew that it was like, this isn't me. And you probably knew that yourself. And looking back now, you're like, why was I spending
honestly,
like £40 a pair of Balenciagas and stuff? It's like,
I had them.
Did you have them?
Yeah, I had them. I actually had them.
They're so heavy. They're so heavy. I don't wear them. I've seen my friends wear them, but they're so heavy.
They just, and the environment I saw that the most, being a professional football player and earning £90, but my teammates, some of them were earning 50 grand a week. We're in the Premier League, it's, and they're driving Bentleys and it was keep up with the Joneses, right? Yeah. So, they're all in this, so imagine being on £90 a week and then being in the same changing room as someone who's on 50 grand and thinking, how am I going to compete with this?
I know, literally. It's who was it, the footballer? Was it Ivan, the guy from Newcastle who got done for...
was it the gambling guy?
Yeah, I forgot his name. He was on Steve Bartlett's pod. Is it Ivan something?
Yeah, oh dear.
I'm going to forget his name. But he was on it and he was saying he was really young when he went to the Premier League. And then he was like, we were getting personal shoppers in our hotels to come bring us clothes. He's like, I could have gone to the shop myself. But you look back and he's like, what a waste of money. And he's like, the amount of clothes. And this is because he just started making, he was like from nothing to like, say,
most
50 grand
people
a week.
are. Most footballers don't come from particularly wealthy backgrounds. It is a working class sport more often than not. So it's an environment. It's a crazy world, football. I mean, I glimpsed it, so I didn't experience it full on. But yeah, quite. I think happy that I saw it and got to experience it, but maybe didn't get dragged into that world as much.
Yeah, no, I think that's smart. But yeah, it's a different world, isn't it? Some people, I would have to go into it. It's a whole other world, that kind of stuff. But a few more questions. How would you like to be remembered if you say you left here today and I don't know, I don't want to say you die or anything, but like if you were hit by a bus on the way out, how would you like to be remembered?
I think so. One thing. So kind is one thing, and passionate. I'd say like they're the two things. Do you know sometimes when people introduce you or when people talk about you or they mention it and you hear how other people view you, when people say things like determined, grit, hardworking, everything in all the fibers inside my body like switch on, and I get like, and it makes me feel really proud that someone thinks like those really sort of like determined and hardworking things, and the other thing is, you know, kindness and motivation to others, and if I can leave a legacy where I can lead by example and be really kind and inspire others, like that's how I would want to be remembered. Wouldn't be about money or fame or anything like that. It would be about impact, I would say.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good answer. I think, impact. It's like, leaving the world a better place than you found it.
Yeah.
That kind of, it's perfect, really. And then I guess for you and the business, what's the future of Fortis? What's the future of the brand, I guess? If you know it, like, I don't know if you've got like a 5-year plan, or if you can say if you've got a 10-year plan, or
do you know, when we started the business, I wanted to build Just Eat, not a replica, but like I wanted to build a unicorn household name, raise loads of funding, make loads of like all of that jazz. You know, like I came into this game as an entrepreneur wanting to do that, and the more time I spend doing it, the further away from what I want that is. And not that we don't want to get there eventually, but my attention is focused much more towards building an incredible product that people love. And we haven't figured that out yet. We've got 500 customers. I think most of them are happy, but we're working on this product and this brand that empowers and helps people, and that people know, Fortis, what do they represent? And everybody knows this company represents these things. So what do we want to be in 5 years? Like, love to be the brand that is known. When you think about personal trainers and fitness, it's like, what comes with them? Fortis. Fortis is the company that supports fitness professionals all around the world. And I don't know with what yet, because we've got some products, we're building some more tech right now. It's pretty cool. We've got a lot of like things that we're working on, but that's what we want. We really want to make a difference to personal trainers and be that brand. But in terms of sort of exactly how we're going to do it, we're still figuring that out.
And like you said, that's the part of the journey though, right? You're not supposed to know. I think someone said that actually, it's like, if you knew you were going to be successful in 10 years, would you still do the work? And a lot of people were like, probably not.
Yeah, you wouldn't.
Because it's
right,
like,
you know what's going to happen. Then you take your foot off.
It takes almost the excitement and the fun and the drive. And it comes back to like my final question. You kind of already answered it, but what is your why? Like, why do you get up in the morning? What's your drive, I guess?
I think I'll give you the two answers to this.
Okay.
Two answers to this. So my first answer, like, what drives me, I love making a difference. And when I see the impact that we as a company have on our customers and their lives, like, that sets me on fire. Like, I love that, and I want to do more and more and more of that. And it's the same way that I see my team when they flourish and they do well and they achieve. Like, I love people smashing their goals. So that's what drives me. People smashing their goals in my company, in the team, and then with our customers. But the answer number two, and this is the genuine real one, is like a horrifying fear of failure. Like, genuinely, and it's something that, like, most people have deep down buried, and I'm aware of it. Yeah, so the first version is love people smashing their goals within the company, within the team, and with our customers. it's not many better feeling than when what you have created is allowing people to crush their goals. Like, that's a pretty special feeling. So that definitely gets me up. But, you know, as I was saying before, the second one is that crippling fear of failure, which every morning when I wake up is at the back of your head, which is like, I will be relentless and never, ever, ever stop, because I don't want to let people down. We've got investors, I've got, you know, the team, I've got our customers. I want to do the best that I possibly can, you know, for everyone involved. And, you know, so that fear of failure is real, and it really is, and it drives a lot of our behaviors.
Yeah.
But so those two things, I think, in equal portion.
Amazing. No, thank you so much. I think you've given some really good answers, and I think a lot of people will take away a lot, especially anyone in the personal, you know, training space and people who are looking to get into fitness as well. I think, you know, it's going to be a really good episode of people to listen to. So,
Ledge.
Thank you so much, mate.
No worries, buddy. Thank you very much, mate.
No worries.